Hey everybody, KC here. So there was an op-ed piece in the Wall Street Journal a few weeks ago by a writer named David K. Israel that I keep meaning to bring up and I keep forgetting, so I'm going to do it today. Basically, he wrote about how after a really bad breakup, he decided to move to California. And he took up, when he got there, two new passions. He started writing a new novel and he started collecting wine. Let me quote from his piece. I never thought I'd be that guy, the one who talked about tannins, subtle aromas, and the seductive limestone of some riverbank, like it had personally shaped his soul. But there I was, nodding thoughtfully at words like angular to describe an amusing white, pretending my front, mid, or back palate could detect anything beyond grape and alcohol, and then eventually understanding that it could. I was like a man falling down a well and discovering to his surprise that he really likes wells. It wasn't too long before I found myself buying pricey bottles of, say, 2005 Chateau Troplong Mondo and saving for them for that special meal. The one I imagined I'd one day have with some new woman in my life to accompany the perfectly marbled steak that I just tonged off the grill. It helped me get over the breakup and filled me with a kind of Dickinsonian hope. That thing with feathers, or in my case, corks. So apparently he amassed quite a collection, all of which he brought into his home in the Pacific Palisades. Yeah, you know where this is headed. That's where the Southern California wildfires were centered. Well, he writes, everything I ever owned, gone. Pencil manuscripts from Leonard Bernstein. Artwork by friends. A handmade baby book for my mother. Every music manuscript I'd ever written or owned. Mementos that had been stuffed in drawers and forgotten until their absence announced their worth. Like a song I hadn't realized was playing until someone turns it off and the silence hurts. And all those expensive bottles of wine, gone. And in that loss, though, he found a lesson I think worth sharing. Loss on this scale gets you rethinking everything. Priorities shift like passengers on a sinking ship, scrambling for meaning, shedding weight, clinging to whatever might float. Wine, I decided, would no longer be something I collected and held on to for some future dinner with someone worthy of such a vintage. From now on, if I decided to plunk down real money on a bottle, it would have to be consumed alongside a meal I'd be cooking that very day. Now I drink my best bottles on the most ordinary nights, Tuesdays mostly, with takeout, or after a long rehearsal, standing at the kitchen counter in sweatpants, swirling something vaguely figgy and $50 too expensive in a chipped glass that I got at a recent blood drive, technically for participation, though I'm pretty sure I passed out. There's no ceremony, no occasion, only the quiet understanding that life is short and things burn. And if you wait too long for the perfect moment, you might just miss the perfectly imperfect one standing right in front of you. And listen, I think that's a really important lesson. Not really a business lesson, although marketing wine as a wonderful wine to tonight's dinner is a pretty good pitch. And by the way, cheap wine is not the same thing as inexpensive wine. There's a $9 bottle of Malbec that I buy frequently. I really, really love it. There's also a $17 bottle of Albarino and a $25 bottle of Oregon Pinot. None are cheap wines, although some are less expensive than others. I've told this story before on Morning Newsbeat, but I'm hoping a lot of you haven't heard it because it's probably been a while. Many years ago, there was a wonderful retailer in New England. He's now passed away. His name was Al Lees. And I knew Al pretty well. And I'd go out to dinner with Al and Marv Imus, another wonderful retailer who's no longer in business. And we'd have great wines. And one day, I got this box of this red wine from Al Lees. And I kind of put it aside and I sent him a thank you note. Didn't really think about it very much. But then one night, I was making spaghetti and meatballs for dinner. And I said to my wife, to Mrs. Kontik, hey, we ought to open that bottle. So we opened the bottle, had it, and it was fabulous. And later I went in and decided to check, I want to know more about this wine. Well, it was like a $75 or $80 bottle of wine, and I was absolutely mortified because we had opened this amazing bottle of wine with spaghetti and meatballs. And I called my friend Marv Imus, and I said, I don't know what to tell Al. I can't believe what I just did. And Marv laughed, and he said, you absolutely have to tell Al that. because Al's position will be the best way to enjoy a $75 bottle of wine is to A, not know how much it costs, and B, have it with spaghetti and meatballs. Listen, and I told Al loved that story, and I've felt differently about wine ever since. Listen, what matters is family. What matters is friends. What matters is a celebration of the moment and an understanding that, as a friend of mine likes to say, life is way too short to drink cheap wine. Anyway, that's what's on my mind. And as always, I want to hear what's on your mind.